Hey everybody, this is Tim with the University of Vinyl. Today I'm going to be doing a contest thread for JT's Record Room. Now JT has been in the VC for a few months. He's got a contest going to hopefully push him over 400 subscribers in the vinyl community for his channel. He's got a great channel, and currently I think he's sitting at about 350 subscribers, so I'm sure that we can help push him over 400 and beyond. JT is a very, very thoughtful, seems like a great guy if you watch his videos. He has got a huge eclectic music collection. Some highlights in his collection: I know he's a Deadhead. He has a tremendous Grateful Dead collection, box sets, live runs from 1972, etc., etc. His background is very interesting as well. So I think he spent a long time growing up in Nevada. I think JT's in Reno now, but I know he spent his formative years growing up in Las Vegas. His mother was actually a showgirl, from what I recall. Father, I think, was in the hospitality business. JT spent some time doing that as well. He has a ton of celebrity encounters and stories. Very interesting background. You should check out his interview with Rachel, the Music Ma'am. It's like an hour and a half. I haven't even watched the whole thing yet, but I have dipped in and watched parts of it, and it's amazing. So, hey, congratulations, JT. I am wishing you the best of luck. I know you're going to be over 400 soon and beyond. So, JT's contest today, a pretty simple one. We have to show 5 of our favorite albums, only 5. That is not easy to whittle it down. And these are not my ultimate desert island favorites, but they're 5 of my favorites. If I have to choose 5, I've got 5 that I've chosen today. And then we're supposed to show 3 films from our favorite directors, and I've got 3 of those as well to show. So let's get started. One of my favorite artists is Bob Dylan, and I think 1974's Blood on the Tracks is an absolute masterpiece. I am lucky to have an early U.S. first press of this album. It sounds fantastic. And what can you say about this? Tangled Up in Blue, Shelter from the Storm. I could go on and on and on, but this is an album I have played many, many, many times. I've had it in all the different formats. Found this album actually on Discogs because I wanted an early pressing. I don't know, maybe about a year ago now, and it's part of my Dylan discography at the moment, and love this album. So in my early high school years, I became aware of Led Zeppelin. And the 2 albums that kind of got me started with Led Zeppelin was Led Zeppelin 4 and Led Zeppelin 2. And if you saw one of my videos from about 2 months ago, you'll know that I had the happy luck of running across one of the Robert Ludwig hot cut Led Zeppelin 2s, which is right here in my hand, and I was just incredibly dumbfounded and excited to find this out in the wild in a record shop about 20 miles from here. I picked it up for $30. It's near mint, and unfortunately, I'm pretty sure the record shop didn't know anything about this. There was no special marking on it, no homemade hype sticker or anything like that. But sure enough, I checked out the dead wax, and I've got an RL SS for Sterling Sound on side 1 and side 2. This thing smokes. Okay, it's just one of the best sounding records I have in my collection today. I occasionally check out eBay and Discogs just to kind of keep track of what's going on as far as the marketplace for this album. And I'm holding on to it. That's all I'm going to say. But this is, the music here is incredible, and this particular pressing is amazing. So when I was a young kid in the early to mid 70s, my parents had a turntable in the living room. There were a handful of albums in there, but I particularly remember this one. This is, of course, Bridge Over Troubled Water, 1970, Simon and Garfunkel, an absolute American classic. And I had to upgrade this album, so what you're looking at is actually the Classic Records 200 gram 33 1/3 release that I recently acquired, and I have never heard this thing sound better than this album. I think there's a one step out there that maybe will come across my door one day, but for the time being, I'm loving this. But when I was a boy, I used to play with my parents' turntable, and I remember they had a stacked turntable, so you could put several records on. One of the ones that I always played was Elvis's Golden Great Hits, the one with the gold cover, 16 golden hits, something like that. This one, and believe it or not, they had that Dave Loggins album with Please Come to Boston. That song is on it as well. Anyway, this is one of my 3 favorite albums ever, Simon and Garfunkel, Bridge Over Troubled Water. So I was lucky enough to see the Grateful Dead twice with Jerry Garcia, and they were both in Chicago at Soldier Field near the end of that run with Jerry. Jerry died in '95. I think I saw the 2 shows I saw, I think were 90 and 91 at Soldier Field. And I started getting into the Grateful Dead in high school. I had that Skeleton Key, whatever that album was, the Grateful Dead's Greatest Hits, that was out there. I had that on cassette and then CD. And then eventually I started digging deeper. And one of my favorite albums, of course, is American Beauty. This is the Mobile Fidelity release that is on Japanese vinyl. This came out, I want to say, either in the late 70s or the early 80s. I've had this for a while. It sounds amazing. There's several people on the forums, Steve Hoffman, etc., that say this is a contender for the top 3. I think Mike from the In Groove did a shootout, and this ranks high as well. But anyway, American Beauty, Grateful Dead, a classic. So when John Lennon was killed in 1980, I was 14 years old, and it sent me on. I had already been starting to get into the Beatles, but I went into a deep dive. I had my own little turntable at that point in time, and the first proper Beatles album that I bought on vinyl was this one. And Sgt Peppers is a veritable, what can I say? It's an absolute classic. I actually have the 2014 mono that came out as part of that box set, and then they released these individually. This sounds amazing. I'm really happy with it. And what an album. I'm not even going to try and do it justice by talking about it too much, but that's my 5th favorite album as we stand today in June of 2021. Sgt. Peppers was actually number 4. I got ahead of myself. So in 1989, I was living in Chicago, Illinois. It was the first time I had my own apartment. I was living on my own after college. Actually, I was taking night school, finishing college at that point in time. And this band kind of came on the scene. I didn't have Come On Pilgrim, but when Doolittle came out, I was amazed. Of course, I had a CD. I think it was Columbia House or something. this was one of the albums I picked up, and I currently now have the Mo-Fi, which sounds amazing, and Frank Black, Black Francis, whatever you want to call this guy, Charles Thompson III. He's just amazing. My wife and I finally had a chance to see the Pixies. Must have been 3 or 4 years ago now. They played in Denver. It was a great show. And I would like to see them again if they get up and go around again, which I'm sure they will at some point. But anyway, that's my 5th favorite album, Doolittle, the Pixies. So director number 1 and a film of his, gotta go with Francis Ford Coppola. This is, of course, The Godfather. I believe this is 1972. I've been saying classic a little too much in this video, but I have to say it again. It's a toss-up between this and The Godfather 2. Some people go with 2. Some people go with this. 2 is a little long, but the story is amazing. But this is just an incredible film. I've got a Blu-ray of it. I haven't seen this in years. Every 5 years I will sit down and watch 1 and 2 again. I also own 3, which is kind of an also-ran. But there's movie number 1, The Godfather, Francis Ford Coppola. Movie number 2, director number 2, we may as well keep it in the family. I was really impressed with Sofia Coppola's film, Lost in Translation. She's done some other films. You know, most recently she got back together with Bill Murray, and I am forgetting the title of that film. It came out last summer. I streamed it here at home, but it was quite good, but didn't have the atmosphere and the vibe that this movie had. Of course, this was shot in Tokyo. First major role for Scarlett Johansson. This is a really, really good film, and it does have a very good soundtrack. Check out the soundtrack. I featured it recently. There's a great Roxy Music song in here, part of the karaoke screen, Late Night Tokyo. Bill Murray and Scarlett Johansson were out late into the night, and they did a great rendition of More Than This. So in the early 2000s, the famous director Mike Nichols, R.I.P., put out a movie that was set in London, contemporary London, early 2000s, and that film is Closer. And I just remember being struck in the theater. You know, there's some movies that will just kind of take you away. You know, you're transported to a time and a place and a story. And I remember this thing really kind of set me, you know, into a different realm. I love this movie. I loved all the scenery in London, and this was kind of a suspenseful film. The 4 main characters were kind of strangers, but eventually the whole thing, all the characters kind of became intertwined. Really good film. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. Closer by Mike Nichols. Of course, you've got Clive Owens in here. Who else do we have? I am drawing a blank. Natalie Portman, Jude Law, Julia Roberts. Go check it out if you haven't seen this film. That's it. JT, congratulations. You're going to be over 400 subs soon. I'm going to drop a link to JT's channel. Make sure you watch some of his videos. He has some incredible content. He's doing Monday vinyl finds and buys. He is a prolific music collector, movie collector, and has an incredible backstory. I'm going to drop a link to Rachel the Music Man's interview that she did with JT as well. Everybody else, thanks for watching today. I'm going to hopefully have another video up ready for the weekend, and we'll catch everybody a bit later. Take care.